Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is your host from the Power 3 podcast, Sean, aka Bishop, and I'm here to talk about sports. Let's do some sports talk today. Please feel free for those that are out there watching my podcast to go ahead and post some comments. We can chat back and forth in regards to a few things in which we're talking about today on the show. So, with that being said, there's a few things that I want to go over first before we get into the chatting and stuff like that. Let me go over the top 25 teams who will be playing this weekend in college football. With that being said, let me start off by saying good afternoon. I hope everybody's having a great day. I hope y'all being blessed and enjoy this podcast. Please feel free to share, like, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, the Power 3 Podcast. I'd greatly appreciate it. With that out the way, let's go ahead and get it started on the top 25 in the NCAA college football. So today's games are we have two teams or two games that are being played today that has two top 25 teams. First, it's Clemson going up against the number 3 Clemson. I'm sorry, Deshaun Watson and number 3 Clemson going up against Boston College. They're playing at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. Central Time here on ESPN. Of course, Deshaun Watson upset. Well, I don't know if you want to call it upset, but they got that huge win against Louisville last week and Lamar Jackson. So I'm gonna pick the Clemson Tigers to beat and defeat the Boston College Eagles. Then we have what is that, 19? Number 19, Boise State Broncos, who are 4-0, going up against the New Mexico Lobos. That game is at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central Time on CBSS. And of course, I'm going to go with Boise State. I don't think New Mexico Lobos will be able to do anything with them. So that's my pick for that. Then moving on over to Saturday's games. One game has already been postponed because of Hurricane Matthew, and that game is the LSU Tigers visiting the number 18 Florida Gators, who are 4-1. The LSU Tigers, who are 3-2. That game has been postponed until further notice. So look out for that game. Tune in to your local channels and find out when that game, and definitely look in on ESPN and check and find out when that game is being rescheduled for. Moving on, we have my game. I feel like the game of the week, or the weekend, should I say? Excuse me, and that is the Red River Showdown between the Texas Longhorns, who are unranked, who fell out of the rankings last week, against my number 20, who are now back in the rankings after being out of the rankings last week, Oklahoma Sooners. That game is being played at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Central Time. It's a Cotton Bowl, of course. It's on FS1, so be sure to stay tuned for that game. That is going to be an amazing game. That's also going to be something in which I'm going to talk about during this podcast and letting everyone know that how I feel about this game. And you already know Oklahoma. I'm picking Oklahoma Boomer Sooner. I'm picking my Sooners to or I don't want to call it upset, but to beat and defeat the Texas Longhorns, horns down. Moving on, we have the number 6 ranked Houston Cougars visiting the Navy Shipmen. That game is at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 2 p.m. Central Time on CBSS. Cougars, Houston are 5-0 as of right now. So I'm picking Houston to win that game. Then we have the number 2 ranked team in the nation, the Ohio State Buckeyes, playing against the Indiana Hoosiers. That game is at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 2:30 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. Of course, you got to go with Ohio State. Indiana is more known for basketball, not necessarily known for football. So Ohio State should take that an easy win. Then we have another good ranked game, and that is the Tennessee Vols, number 9. I'm sorry, they're number 9, going up against the number 6. Is that 6? No, that's number 8 ranked Texas A&M Aggies. That game is at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 2:30 p.m. Central Time on CBS, and I have to go with the Texas A&M Aggies because they have Trevor Knight, who was used to be in Oklahoma Sooners quarterback, and now he's in Texas A&M. But not to take nothing away from Tennessee. Tennessee pulled out a huge win last week. So I definitely gonna It's going to be a great game, but I'm gonna stick with the Texas A&M Aggies. Then we have the number 25 Virginia Tech Hokies playing up against the number 12 North Carolina Tar Heels. That game is at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 2:30 p.m. Central Time on ABC, and I'm gonna take the Virginia Tech Hokies to upset the North Carolina Tar Heels. That's my prediction. That's my choice. That's who I choose to win that game. That's who I'm looking at to win that game. And then moving on, we have the number 21 Colorado Buffaloes versus the unranked USC Trojans. That game is at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. East Central Time on the Pat Network. And I'm going to actually choose the USC Trojans to upset Colorado. I am. They're playing in USC at Los Angeles Memorial Stadium. So I'm going to choose the USC Trojans to upset Colorado in that game. Then we have the number one ranked Alabama Crimson Tide going into number 15. What is that? Number 16, Arkansas Razorbacks. Please excuse me for whatever reason. My eyes are blurry, even though I have my glasses on. I don't know why I can't see these numbers, but I apologize if I'm saying it wrong, but either way, Alabama Crimson Tide is going to visit Arkansas Razorbacks. That game is at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. Arkansas Nick Saban has the Tide on a tide, and they're rolling through everybody. So yeah, I'm picking Alabama to beat the Razorbacks. Then we have the number 4 ranked Michigan Wolverines versus the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Come on, that's Harbaugh. You get that game is at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time on ESPN2. It is what it is. You know Michigan gonna win that game. That Rutgers doesn't even have a chance. And then we have the number 5 Washington Huskies who upset Stanford last week, and they've moved up in the rankings. They're like I said, they're ranked number 5. They're 5-0, and they're playing the unranked Oregon Ducks. That game is at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. Central Time on Fox. The Ducks are 2-3. The Huskies are 5-0. But I'm gonna pick the Oregon Ducks to upset the Washington Huskies. I'm gonna pick the Oregon Ducks to upset the Washington Huskies. That is my choice right there. So moving on, we have the Florida State Seminoles ranked 23rd in the nation versus the number 10 Miami Florida Hurricanes, and we know this is a rivalry game that goes back decades. In play. So with that game being at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time on ABC, this should be a great game. But also keep in mind, stay tuned to your local listings, stay tuned to the news, ESPN, and all of that. I heard a few people talking about that they may or may not have play this game. All depend on the weather and of course, Hurricane and Matthew. So just stay tuned in for that game to see who wins that or if that game is being played. The Seminoles are 3-2. The Hurricanes are 4-0. I am going to have to go with Miami. I'm gonna have to go with Miami, even though the Florida State has the running back who was a Heisman hopeful. I'm still gonna pick the Miami Hurricanes. I just feel like I don't think Florida State gonna be able to go into Miami and beat them in the U. Moving on, we have the Arizona Wildcats who are 2-3 facing the number 24 ranked Utah Utes. Of course, Utah fell last week, so they're 4-1. That game is at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central Time on FS1. I think Utah will bounce back from that loss last week and defeat the Arizona Wildcats. And then last but not least, we have the Washington State Cougars visiting the number 15 ranked Stanford Cardinals. That game is at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 9:30 p.m. Central Time. That is on ESPN. Of course, Stanford got upset last week by Washington. Stanford only scored 6 points, whereas Washington scored 44 points up against Stanford, which made Stanford fall to the spot in which they're in right now. So with that being said, I feel like Stanford would bounce back from that loss and get this win against Washington State. It is Washington State. Washington State is 2-2. Stanford is 3-1. So there you have it. That is the top 25 teams in college football this weekend. Those are my predictions on who I feel like will win these games this weekend. So if you have any idea or any views on how you feel how the top 25 teams will play this weekend. Um, be sure to leave some comments. Let's chat. Let's talk about it. Let's go over these things and let's see just uh, which teams are better to has a better chance for winning. I believe I did tell y'all, even though it's postponed. Um, well, no, I'm not even going. I was going to give you my prediction between the Gators and the LSU Tiger game, but I'm gonna wait until they actually reschedule that game, and then whenever they play, I'll pick my prediction for that game. So with that being said, that is that. So moving on. So now let's talk about the Red River Showdown between the Texas Longhorns and the Oklahoma Sooners. As you know, the Texas Longhorns and the Oklahoma Sooners, the Red River Showdown. I call it the Red River Shootout, but some people call it Showdown, some people call it Shootout, whatever. However, I feel like this is probably, like I said, one of the best games of this weekend. Oklahoma was ranked. Excuse me. Oklahoma was ranked in the beginning of the season, and then Texas was ranked in the beginning of the season. Then Oklahoma lost 2 games, fell out of the rankings, and Texas has lost 2 games and now fell out of the ranking. But now Oklahoma is back in the rankings because they won last week. They beat who was that they beat last week to get back in the rankings, and it was a close game too. They almost I can't call it right now, but Oklahoma won a game last week that put them back in the rankings. So this is going to be a great game, a great game. You know, this is Bob Stoops versus um, um, uh, Charlie Strong out there in Texas. So both of them, I feel like both head coaches are on the hot seat right now because they really both need wins, especially in this game. I feel because a lot of emphasis is going to be on this game because of the fact that they both got 2 losses. One team is out of the top 25, and then one team is in the top 25 was previously out the top 25 a week prior. So they kind of like just flip flop positions coming into this Red River shootout, showdown, whatever you want to call it. Um, but it should be a great game. I mean, like I say, this rivalry dates back years, years and years. So I'm really looking forward to this game. I'm always looking forward to this game. If I'm not mistaken, Texas won last year for the Red River Shootout. So Oklahoma is definitely due to get this win over Texas. I really want them to get this win. I'm looking for them to get this win. So hopefully they will get it. Um, uh, about to say Trevor Knight. Sorry, folks, I gotta stop this broadcast. I'll holler back at y'all later.